Welcome to Epic Begins with One Step Forward. I'm your host, Zander Sprague, and I am so delighted that you're here with me today. I wanted to start off with the thought of the day. Go for it. Don't let fear stop you. That is so important. When we think of the epic things we want to do, it can seem so scary. It can seem daunting. But you want to know what? Go for it. I can tell you in my own life, there are many things that I started. I had no idea how I would do it. And yet I still found success because I didn't let fear stop me. A really great example of that was many years ago when I was 12 years old. I had the opportunity to jump off a 60-foot cliff into a giant, into a quarry, a lot of water. I was really scared, but I took that first step, plummeted through the air, had the thought in my head, oh my gosh, I can't turn around. I hit that water and it was so exhilarating. I did not let fear stop me, and from that day, I love to do things that scare me. I want to just give you a quick update on Jensen, who talked about authentic leadership on my podcast. And she's continuing to do this really great work. And authentic leadership is so important these days. Be the leader that you want to be. If you're managing people, if you don't know what your management style is, go do some research. Find out how you should be a manager, because it's really hard for you to be able to do a management style that just isn't your style. I'll give you an example. If you're trying to be an authoritarian leader, but you're really more of an empathetic leader, you're probably not going to be successful. So I want you to think about, what kind of a leader do I want to be? And if you don't know, think about the managers that you've had in your life or bosses who are the ones that you remember, the ones who did it well. Those are people that you should emulate if it's your style. Well, I am so honored today to be joined by Steve Snyder. Steve, welcome to the show. Just tell us a little about who you are and what you do.
Zander, thank you so much for inviting me today. This is an honor to be here. I'm a Contra Costa County resident, and I am a licensed insurance agent with Health Markets Insurance Agency, helping people.
Cool. We're going to get into that in a minute, but I know from talking to you, you've had an interesting life. Dare I say, epic.
There have been many epic times.
Absolutely.
And everything has been, I don't want to say it's been planned, because things happen and you just have to pick yourself up and just go for it. Because if you don't, you're not going to get anywhere.
Absolutely. Look, we all, and we'll talk about this in just a few minutes, but we all have detours that end up in our life. And the question is, what do you do when you hit that detour? We'll talk about that in a minute. Now, one thing that I know from talking to you, and boy howdy am I fascinated to find out about this. You, in a former life, were a cruise director on a cruise ship.
That's correct.
In the 70s and 80s, correct?
Yes, during when the movie television show was active.
So when the Love Boat was there, you were doing you were the Julie McCoy.
No, I was not Julie. I was maybe somebody else. I was never Julie. It's a very interesting life on ship life.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little about like what it is to be a cruise director, if you don't mind mentioning what cruise line you were on.
The line doesn't exist anymore. There was an Italian family with Russian descent named Vlasov, and they had a shipping company called the V ships.
Okay.
And it turned out that they had about 60 oil tankers.
Okay.
And out of 60 ships, they had, and all the ships had a V on the smokestack. They had 4 cruisers, 2 down out of Australia and 2 here in the United States. The Fair Sea on the west coast and the Fair Wind on the east coast. I was hired to be a social director in Los Angeles on the Fair Sea, and I think it was October 73 or 74, could be one of those years. I was sent out to the ship, and I was there for a month, and the director of entertainment and personnel from Beverly Hills, where the office was, asked me to leave, come into their office, and train to be an assistant cruise director, because he wanted to send me to Florida to work on the Fairwind.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got trained in Beverly Hills in their office, and then I went to Florida, and I worked with then the cruise director. His name was Barry Rose.
Mm-hmm.
And I shadowed him for several weeks, and then we said goodbye and he left. And there I took over the ship and ran the social staff, all the activities for the crew staff. And
so what did you, I'm always fascinated to know, because I mean, I saw the Love Boat. Obviously the cruise director is trying to arrange all of the different activities on board and the parties and the...
It's pre-planned, basically. It was basically planned when I got there.
Sure.
And Barry probably didn't plan it, but it was in place. So I just kept
executing on that.
Executing exactly where it was. There was a schedule every day, depending on the length of the crew, either a 7, 10, or 14-day cruise. We sailed out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I've been all over South America, Central America, around the Horn a couple times. Never made it over to the Medi in Europe, but was primarily the southern part of our continent. And I think I counted 38 countries when I was done with this.
Wow.
And I directed the gambling on the ship. We used to do bingo and horse racing, and I was the bingo caller, the horse race caller. And it's interesting, I was a 25-year-old young man, and I also emceed world-class entertainers. I
Sure.
mean, they're all gone now, but they're just...
Well, you can name some of them. I probably know some of them. I'm not that much younger than you, Steve.
Well, my first night on a microphone, I'll tell you about fear.
Yeah.
Barry handed me the microphone one night, and he said, "Here, you're going to do it." I go, "Well, you didn't train me because you've been watching me?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Here, you do it." So get up in the middle. Come on, they're ready to stop playing the music. So I had to get out in front of the audience with a microphone. And over here on my right was Henny Youngman.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, the music from the Emelian Boys, they were playing Italian, da, 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 da,
Yeah.
da, and then it ended. And all of a sudden, the spotlight came on, and I'm blinded. and I go, oh, I didn't know what to do. So I held the mic up to my face, and here's the cone of the mic.
Yeah.
And it was a Shure branded mic.
Yeah.
And it had the logo of Shure across the cone,
Yeah.
that M58 model. And I said, "Good evening, ladies and..." I froze.
Yeah.
I kept going, "Ba, ba, ba." I literally froze, and I was terrified. And then I took a breath, and I said, "You're not going to believe this, ladies and gentlemen, but it's really the first time I've ever done this." They started laughing. And I said, "No, really, honest, I'm telling you the truth." Laughing, laughing, laughing. So I eased up. I did 2 or 3, 4 minutes of entertainment, making them laugh. And then I put the mic in my other hand, and I said, "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's entertainment, I want to welcome Mr. Henny Youngman." Henny shook my hand, handed him the mic, off we go. Now the key to this is, at the end of his show, he said, "Stevie boy, you did a great job." I said, "Oh, I want you to do my midnight show." I said, "Well, I'm supposed to, we have somebody else scheduled for it." He goes, "Reschedule it. I'm Henny Youngman, I want you." So I did this show up in the lounge, and then after the show, he says, "The midnight buffet's still open, let's go eat."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm sitting across from Henny. It was like, I mean, right here, just looking at Henny. I was by myself, and he had his manager, I forgot his name, and we're in tuxedos, and he goes, "Stevie boy," he goes, "tell me, who wrote your bit?" I go, What do you mean bit?" Because, you know, the thing you did when you introduced me, when you go, "Bup, bup, 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 bup," I go, nobody wrote that. I was honest. I was terrified.
Yeah.
He goes, "Oh, you're kidding." So his manager said, see, honesty works. See, and then Henny says, "Oh, use that every cruise. Just make sure you don't have any repeaters."
Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
that was a moment that I learned that the truth will always work.
Absolutely.
And that was a big change for me as a person, understanding that truth is all that really matters.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that's my one of my stories.
That is an epic story. That's
Yeah,
great.
It is. And I interviewed. I rode in limousines with Rowan and Martin. As a jazz drummer, I got to sit in with every major jazz man that came on the ships while I was at
Wow, that's
at sea.
awesome.
Yeah. If I put those names on my resume, only playing 2 tunes each, it looked like I was, not telling the truth, but it was true.
Looked like you were a session player for all these people.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that is interesting. So, of those 38 countries that you went to, which one for you was truly an epic destination? Or 2? I mean, it's.
Sure. It's just, everyone was epic, but I have to say, I don't know. They're all great. If I pick one,
Okay.
pick one.
How about
Caracas, Venezuela?
Sure.
We would dock into La Guaira, which is the port city, and we would take the passeggeri, I was speaking Italian sometimes, to the teleferico, and which is a cable car, and then we'd board the cable cars and go down into the city of Caracas, and it was an amazing view.
Definitely.
And the food is good, the people are great, they speak Spanish, and my Los Angeles Spanish, and with the little Italian infiltrated,
Sure.
I was able to get along with it. But I liked Venezuela a lot.
Yes. I've been fortunate. I got to travel to Venezuela. I was much younger, but I got to see Caracas, spend some time there,
Yeah.
and it is truly a beautiful country.
Yeah.
Now, we go on from being a cruise director, and you had an interesting job that had, to say the least, a rather large, I don't know if we call it a detour or a roadblock, but you used to sell luggage.
Well, there's the route to that was from the ship.
Okay.
So one night for embarkation, I always had a list of people. We had to know when the entertainers were boarding, and there was a hole in one of them. An entertainer by the name of Myron Cohen. People probably don't know who he was. He was an Ed Sullivan, comic back in the 50s and 60s. And I had worked with him before, so he knew me, I knew him. So I'm running around the ship, he's, because we're about ready to close the gate, and there he is sitting in a lounge by himself having a cocktail. I went, "Myron, you didn't check in?" He goes, "Oh, I just slid by. I didn't want to bother anybody." So we're talking, and he says, "You're a pretty good cruise director." I said, "Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I like working on the ships." And I said, "By the way, how long are you in this business?" He goes, "What business?" "The entertainment business." Myron says, "This it's not a business. It's monkey business. I'm retired. I was a salesman in New York City for 20 years selling textiles to manufacturers. So I suggest for you, when you need to, get off the ship and go be a salesman. And after you do that for 30 years, go back and start entertaining again." So I was only off ship 15 years, and I started playing music again.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. And that's what led me to looking for a job in sales, because I knew that personality that I was able to develop on the ship in front of people leading, these adults wanted to be led by 25-year-olds.
Definitely.
And it was incredible. And I learned a lot of social skills. It was just amazing. So then I was very lucky. You talk about luck and finding things. I went back to live with my parents in Los Angeles, where I'm from. And somebody said, go to the LA Times on Wednesday in the sporting goods section. There's usually one column of sales jobs.
Okay.
So there was the job. Luggage salesman needed, experience required for, I can't remember what I said, but see S. Hutkin at this number. Well, I called S. Hutkin, and he said, you don't have any sales experience? I said, no, I just got off a cruise ship. He goes, what'd you do? I said, I was a cruise director. Oh, you're qualified. Come on down tomorrow for an interview. And that's what got me in the luggage business.
That's awesome. So how long did you spend in the luggage business?
Oh, from May 1st of 76, there was transition
Oh, of course.
after 9/11, and I was able to stay in it till about 07.
Right.
But it's a rough last section.
Definitely. And I know from talking to you, I hadn't thought of it, but it makes sense that after 9/11, sort of really had a profound effect on the luggage business.
Yes, tremendous. There were, when I started in the industry, there were literally 200 doors, when I mean not branches, but the invoicing doors, the small department stores, the big ones, and probably about 4,000 independent little stores. I think there's 5 department stores of any consequence left today. And the landscape has changed, merchandising and the big boxes. And then the specialty stores, I don't think there's 600 or 700 left
Right.
in the country.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And that's, multiple factors there. One, online retail.
Oh, yeah. That was a big one.
Is a big one. But like 9/11, obviously, you and I were talking, in the pre-interview that it like overnight went from life is good to life is challenging.
Life was great to life is good to life is we're not retiring when I'm 60.
Right.
And there's something I have to tell you about the will. And I hope I don't cry on this one.
Okay.
Our youngest son was going into his last 2 years in university, private university. And we were prepared before for both universities were put away. You talk about someplace you work financially, that's where we put college.
Yes.
Funds. And we got to the end where Zach's last 2 years needed to be paid for. His funds were gone because we were using everything we had to survive.
Sure.
And I told my dear bride, Emily, I said, you know what? No matter what happens, if we have to go broke, Zach's going to graduate. He did, and we did. Went to the bottom.
Sure.
And that's, but he's soaring like an eagle. So
Well, that's, as a parent myself, that's what I want for my daughters. And it's what any parent wants, is for their children to thrive.
Yep.
No matter the price to you, because it's kind of what we do as parents.
Yeah. So that's the story.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, but you talked about will and figuring out what to do. So you had a major roadblock.
Oh, yeah. I needed income.
Yeah.
Some income. There was a retailer left here in the Bay Area, was one of the strongest in the country. Actually, a top level account for everybody that sold to them. They were number 2 in my list under Macy's. That's how big they were.
Wow.
The Edwards luggage family. And they gave me a retail job in Walnut Creek.
Oh, good for them.
And I worked on the retail floor. I had a ball selling retail luggage, and they were there. They helped me rescue myself.
Good.
And I worked there for several years until about a year before they actually closed down their operation and all retired. They didn't have to sell it, just closed it. They didn't want their name anywhere. The Edwards family was in business from 46 to, I can't remember the actual last date. It was at that time I was wondering what's next.
Yep.
Well, you couldn't get a corporate job because I've never had one.
Right.
And I was too old because I got in front of a couple interviewers, but I knew they knew immediately when they saw me I was too old, and they would never say that because they're not allowed to. But I
Sure.
knew the moment they sat down.
Yep.
So I decided to do the next best thing, and I figured insurance companies are constantly recruiting.
Yep.
You can be half alive or half dead and get a job with an insurance company selling. And so I got one of those, and it wasn't the kind of company I wanted to stay with. So names won't.
That's okay.
Yes.
We don't have to say anything,
Yeah.
but I certainly understand that some companies are better than others to work
Yeah,
for.
exactly. So then I made a move to health markets, where I've been ever since, and very,
Good.
very happy.
That's good.
Yeah.
And certainly to spend just a little time talking about, because it is important for all of us, that challenging time for lots of people, challenging time to understand how best to take care of yourself and your family. What are some pieces of advice for people to know? Because obviously, the big joke, oh, here comes the insurance salesman, right? and sadly that stereotype somehow.
Yeah.
No, I know you're not that, Steve, but
Well,
I'm saying, but the stereotype is there, and then you sort of experience and go, yeah, that's not too far off from what my vision. But what are important things for people to think about or know about when it comes to thinking about insurance and stuff?
An insurance agent who is reliable, honest, successful, is not a transactional agent. They have to become a family trusted advisor. It's the only way that a consumer is going to get the full benefit of what an insurance advisor does. I take people that are under 65. I'm with the ACA here in California. It's called the Cover California. And I'm also, because of the virtue, I always say this, because of the virtue of the color of my hair, I'm a licensed Medicare specialist.
Sure.
And so I help people transition into Medicare and meet people that might need help with it. But you need to have somebody, if you don't know anybody, then talk to a relative or a friend, and who they're happy with, and who they've had help them all along, and get a referral.
Right.
And that's really, in my opinion, the best way to go.
Definitely. I mean, if your friends or family are like, hey, we've been with Steve for 15 years, he takes care of us, that's obviously the person you want to go with. Not, let me go to do a Google search for insurance broker.
I get Google calls all the time, because I know Google is very valuable, and I have a good reviews.
I'm not slamming Google,
No, I know.
but
I
you
know.
understand what I mean. Obviously, in business, we say the best business is a referral business,
Yes.
because it means, one, people think you're doing a good job, and two, the potential customer already has some trust
Yes.
in you.
Yeah. And the reviews, if you're looking through Google as a consumer, you look for not the number of reviews, but what is being said in the reviews. And if you see somebody that's being not liked very well, getting a negative review, before you make any judgments, look at that person who's making the review and look at all their reviews. There's ways you can search them out, because generally speaking, you're going to have people who do nothing but put negative reviews on everything they see or touch, and that's just what their personality is. And you just don't want to be involved with that. Just stay positive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I know when I'm reading reviews for products or whatever, I know that a lot of the reviews are the people who are dissatisfied, because I'm like, all right, I will read those and give them some attention, but I'm looking at the people who like the product. What did they have to say about it?
Yes.
Because again, I realize people tend to express when they want to complain, and if you're happy, you just may not even think about writing a review for your insurance agent, or a product, a piece of luggage that you really like, right?
Yeah.
You're not like, oh my God, this is great. It's been around the world 3 times with me, and I've never had a problem. The wheels are still on. You see, oh, the handle broke.
It's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have some standouts in the luggage industry. I was the first luggage rep in the nation to sell the suitcase with the pull-up handle.
Ah, look at you.
I worked with the pilot and helped them develop a sales force.
Wow, look at that.
That became Travel Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at you, Steve.
Can I just mention a new designation that I received?
Sure.
I was called by somebody from the Better Business Bureau a couple months ago, and they told me about the Better Business Bureau, and they invited me to become a member.
Okay.
And I'm now officially a Better Business Bureau accredited insurance agent.
Well, look at you.
Yeah.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that.
Thank you.
That is.
I'm very proud of that.
Well, you should be.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So, just quickly, because we only have a few minutes left here.
Okay.
What would you say in terms of type of insurance? Obviously, there's health insurance. We all need some form of health insurance. But the term life, whole life, all of that.
Well, there's a calendar of a lifetime between the time you're born, the time you're older, you supposedly get married, and then you move on in life and grows. And there's stages of a life that we enter and we find out what they have, and then we show them what's appropriate. Whether it's a growth accumulation, whether it's a term policy that expires but it's convertible to a better policy, if they can't become an investor in an insurance policy, which creates retirement wealth.
Yeah.
And once you reach a certain age, at let's just call it 45 or 50, you don't have the timeline to make investments to give you income at the end. But when you're under 40 and young families, you have plenty of time to protect your children, your family, your relatives, and more investment type policies is what I love to work with young families to help them, show them how they can receive a tax-free income for 20 years at the age of 65. And they can be very lucrative.
Yeah, it could be, very much so.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, I want to thank you so much.
Oh, wow.
Just quickly, how can people find you?
You can Google health insurance Steve Snyder, 94522, or you can call me directly at area code 510-599-4700. Last but not least is ssnyder@healthmarkets.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, so much for coming in. Truly an epic life, and thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you very much again for asking me. This is a delight.
Awesome. I want to remind everyone that if you're ready to begin your epic journey, go to epicbegins.com. And as always, remember, epic choices lead to the epic life that you want.